come down to the reality of playing one game, one time against a quality opponent and winning.
You talk about the travel. The travel experience last week, do you think it helped you out, not having to travel that extra day and all that? I mean, I don't know if it got you any extra points, but I mean.
Oh, there's no question that that's obviously the best way to do it. I think everybody agrees with that. I mean, that to me is a no-brainer. I mean, I think our players thought it was pretty good. We did have a little, we didn't go perfectly, but it went pretty well. I mean, we got fogged in Santa Maria, so we got up real early still because we wanted to practice, and those were all the things we talked about. We talked about facing adversity in the game. Well, they got up at 5:45. They were here at 6 o'clock in the morning. We had to send them home. We re-wake them up at 7:45, get back on the bus, go to Santa Maria, get there. We were supposed to go to practice. We arrived about 45 minutes too late to get a practice in because there was another event in their dome. So we skipped practice and still went out and played a real good football game. So I think all those things went into the factor, but there's no question that it's the best way to travel. I think our players were comfortable with it. I think they were actually happy that we weren't making the bus ride up to go practice, and I think it was probably a good break for them.
We were talking to Mark before you. I mean, it seems like he's getting more and more comfortable as the season goes along, which is great. Talk about his performance in the game and really where he's at right now in the season.
Well, he's an electrifying player. If we can get him into the second level, he gets a lot of oohs and ahs from even the opponent's fans, I think, because he's got that extra little button on the games that all those guys play. I'm not sure what you call it on all that, but they push that beep beep button, and all of a sudden he's got a second speed and a second gear. And if we can get him to the second and third levels, you're not going to catch him. I mean, he's that explosively fast, and I think that our coach, Brian Cook, did a good job of getting him in good situations. I think, and I've said it before, I think Dominique Johnson was part of that. I mean, they were doing so many things when we got into shotgun formations to make sure that Dominique Johnson wasn't going to have his 5 touchdowns he had a year ago, that maybe they were vulnerable in other places, and I think we did a good job of taking advantage of those things. But, overall, he's an electrifying player, but he'd be the first guy to admit it. He's, number one, extremely humble, and he's really liked on our team, largely because of his smile, but also because of his ability. But he understands he's only as good as the 10 guys around him. And those guys did a great job blocking for him.
In that game, the defense, I mean, you got down quick, 14-0, not quick, but I mean, after a quarter or so.
10 minutes.
And then you outscored them, you outscored them 38-10 the rest of the way. So the defense seemed like they kicked it into gear. I mean, talk about the performance of the D for the last 3 quarters.
Even early on, we played well on defense. We had them in those first 2 touchdown drives. We had them in 5 third-down situations that they converted on, and that's not what we want to do. But getting them there is a good start, and I think it did give us some confidence that we could get them there. And one of the things that we all said, we went over there, Coach Lufer and myself both walked over and told the defense the same thing. When we get them in third down, we have to get off the field. You have to, and we don't want to get off the field giving you a touchdown up, but we have to get off the field. And I think that our players knew that they were doing some good things. And we pressured one time, and they picked up the pressure. And if they pick up the pressure, your corners are going to be suspect. But you take Nico Molino in that game, they went after him a lot of times in that football game. And he got beat for touchdowns, for 2. But he also made a lot of plays in that game down the stretch. He had 10 tackles. He had a huge tackle for a loss in the fourth quarter. He knocked down 2 balls that they were trying to throw fades on him. He's only about Mark's size. And really competed. And to play that position, to play corner at any level, you have to be able to get yourself back up if you've been beat and play the next play. And I thought Nico I think he was a motivating factor for our entire team because he kept his chin up and kept playing hard the entire time. And I think good things paid off. And I think that we made some adjustments. I think Greg did a good job as a defensive coordinator of making some adjustments in the second half. And I think we played better in the second half. And I think as momentum started to shift and our confidence started to rise, I think we were a very good football team.
And it was one of those games where, not a lot of passing yards, but that, the rushing attack was just working. And the week before, you guys had, thrown the ball. So it looks like you guys are, you're winning with whatever way is working, I guess.
Well, and I think that's what I've kind of said all along is the fact that we do what the opponents allow us to do. And if it means that, we have to, the one thing that we have to do better is that we have to be able to take advantage of, take the North Dakota game. We had a 9-minute drive and 7 points, which is what we want to do. But we have to be able to repeat that if that's what the opponents are going to do. And that's a difficult thing for young people to have to do, down in and time out. The other thing it does, it can frustrate a team. And I think that the other team became a little frustrated the other day, and that allowed us to do some things where you had 40-yard touchdown runs and 72-yard or 74-yard touchdown runs. And I think we have to be able to continue to do that. But we're not going to press the issue. If those plays would have been 12-yard first downs, I still would have been feeling pretty good on the sidelines. And we do feel if Mark gets the ball in the open field or DJ gets the ball in the open field, great things can happen. And we think that we have tremendous fullback in Jordan and Jake, and our quarterback play's been solid, and Gabe Umo has done some good things filling in for Dave Marsh. So we have a lot of people that contributed to the win, and that's what we want to be able to continue to do, whether it's running it or throwing it. We want as many guys touching the football and attacking the defense from inside out. And if we're able to do that, then good things will happen for us, whether it's through the air or on the ground.
Knowing this could be the last game of the season, win or lose, what are the feelings, with that, I guess, weighing on your shoulders?
I've been doing this for a long time, and this season has been a flyby. And usually when it's a flyby, you're usually winning some games, which you have been. But we didn't have a game that I really felt, I maybe had one game that I really felt comfortable that we would win going in. And I really think that the flyby is two things. Number one, I love the competition. I think it's good for all of us. To play in competitive games on a weekly basis is good for everybody in our program. And I think, secondly, it's a tremendous tribute to our players and our players' work ethic, is that they came to practice and made it enjoyable for coaches. We live through our players not only on game day, on a daily basis. I mean, they're our motivation, and our players have given us everything they've had on a daily basis, and really showing the type of young people that we recruit here are high-character people that love the game of football and are willing to make the sacrifices that you make to play it at a high level. And it's made it enjoyable. So that's my feeling. Number one, I hope it's not our last game, but if it is and we win, we have a lot to be proud of. And if the alternative does happen and we don't win and we play as hard as we can play on Saturday, I'll still be very complimentary of who we are as a football team. I think our players showed a lot of character this year.
If you guys do win, I mean, I would imagine you think this is a playoff team, right?
Well, Cal Poly and myself personally, we've been in this situation before where if you leave things in the hands of a committee, and trust me, I have all the faith in the world, they're going to try to do the best they can to pick the best teams in the country. But I really think if we win, we are a very deserving football team to continue to play. And I'm sure there's other teams that feel the exact same way. But unfortunately for other people, we put ourselves in the position to truly do it. We'll be 7-2 if we win against FCS opponents. And that's what they ask you to be. And I think we've been ranked, Eric could probably tell me wrong, 10 of the first 11 weeks. So we've been in the top 23 probably in the country the entire year and progressed to as high as 14. So we've been right in there. And now we're on a little bit of a roll, too. We're playing pretty good. And, we're playing some teams that I think are pretty good football teams. So, it's in the hands of somebody else. I've been there before and not been selected. I know Cal Poly has had one season, I think, that I want to say we were undefeated one year, 10-1, and weren't selected. And I think I hate to say it, I think that was an embarrassment to say you're playing for a national championship and you leave a 10-1 team out. In our case, 8-3, 7-2, whatever you want to say we will be if we win. I think we've done what we should do, especially when you consider the schedule that we played.
You kind of touched on this before. Last year, Dominique Johnson and Tony Smith had career days against South Dakota. Tony Smith threw 6 touchdown passes. Dominique Johnson, 13 reception, 273 yards. This year, Dominique, no catches. Tony Smith didn't have the greatest game passing. What kind of an effect did Dominique Johnson have on the game despite the fact he had no catches?
Yeah, and I thought that he handled it very well. But the one thing is, if you watched what they did, especially when we got into shotgun formations, they weren't going to allow him to have a big game. And that can be frustrating to a player. But he also, I think, understands that he was largely responsible for 275 yards or 235 yards rushing for Mark Rogers and some other things. And I think Tony did well, too. I mean, the one big throw that Tony had was the catch that Gabe Umo makes, and that really kind of ignited us on that little spurt that we had in the second half. So I think that both those guys, I'm sure they would like to put up. I wouldn't mind if they put up numbers of 5 touchdowns and 400 yards passing either. But the reality of the situation is that, like I said before, everybody on our team understands that we're going to do whatever the defense allows us to do. And if it may look boring to the fans at some point in time, but hopefully it gets more points than the opponent, and I think it will more times than not.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you. Let's get some folks out there.